So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I have to pay attention because I do this for you all. But if you've been paying attention like me, Giuliani and his goons have been bouncing around state to state to the states, all of the states, the important ones that Trump lost, to have these little hearings about voter fraud and talk to. They've really leveled up from just speaking in the driveway, the gravel, unpaved driveway of landscaping businesses. They've upgraded. Now they're in buildings and they're talking to people, real people, representatives all around this country. They're trying to make their case to these representatives that there was really fraud going on in a lot of these states. And obviously they're doing it poorly, but they're trying their best. They're going around with these like clown cars of witnesses and waving around papers of affidavits that something actually happened, and this election needs to be either be redone or thrown out, or just kind of subtract votes from Joe Biden because apparently they cheated, and they know they cheated, but they don't have enough evidence to win in court. But they do have enough evidence to win in court, but they're getting thrown out of court, but they're also not getting thrown out of court. And it's just like this massive mess or something along that lines. So they know that there's fraud, but they can't really prove it. That's what Sidney Powell said in Georgia the other day. And it's just like a complete just catastrophe falling around all of the shambling dying breath of the Trump campaign. And now even Republicans, elected Republicans, are trying to hop off the ship as soon as possible. You see like Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania, the Republican senator there, saying like, hey, listen, gotta cut this short. You lost, okay? Just accept it. They don't want to accept it. They don't want to accept it whatsoever, and they just want to keep harping on about how this is a massive plot to by the CEO of Antifa, Hugo Chavez, and the Democratic National Convention and Joe Biden or something separately, or just put together into a sort of Power Ranger style, into a sort of like a mecha droid to just slash down and destroy the MAGA machine that Trump has been building up for the last 4 years, funded all by the Clinton Foundation and George Soros, something along those lines. And it's ridiculous. It's always been ridiculous. This has just been a massive play to delegitimize the political system that we're in, to fuel Trump's ego, to feel like he didn't really lose, and also to pay off some of Trump's debts. I mean, you look at some of the emails that they've been sending, literally like threatening emails. They'll send them emails like, "Hello, friend. This is your final warning. We know we've sent you emails to help the president stop the horrible Joe Biden campaign from stealing this election, yet you have not replied. This is your final warning, and if you do not pay a single low sum of $50 to Daddy Trump's pockets, then he will no longer consider you a real supporter." And they're just like feeding off of this really strong parasocial relationship that a lot of conservatives have built up around Donald Trump in an extremely creepy and totally not culty way. But they're doing a couple of hearings, and I wanted to show you one of the hearings specifically from Michigan earlier this week, where Giuliani and a particular witness had a really good time. And Giuliani, I know I call him a ghoul all the time, but I didn't know he was this bad. He literally started ripping ass in the middle of the conference with these representatives.
I gave you the answer.
Point of order.
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Well, you probably know the truth. I'm worried about their not wanting to know the truth.
Oh my God. Listen, okay, I knew Giuliani, who hasn't stepped in a courtroom in, I think, longer than I've been alive, and I'm over 20. But I knew that he'd be scared to do that, but I didn't think that he'd be so terrified that he'd literally start shitting himself in front of all these people. That was disgusting. It was so bad that the woman sitting next to him literally looked over. His ass is at least, his like rectum is at least 4 feet away from that microphone, and it picked it up. Okay, that picked it. They must have the world's most sensitive microphones, or that guy just like blew a hole in the bottom of that chair you know? And I bet that chair's strong. Looks like strong wood, oak or something along those lines. It is incredible how much of a mockery Giuliani and all of these people can make of themselves. Sidney Powell saying release the Kraken, and saying that even like members of the military and foreign nations and elected officials like Brian Kemp, the governor from Georgia, were in on the steal, and everyone's trying to steal, and they're trying to stop the steal. They're here to tear down the steal and erect the unsteal, the anti-steal. But this has really not gone on too well for them. Case in point, they had a witness that was really something to behold. This made the rounds for a little bit, but I want to show you all a little bit of this woman going off on one of the representatives who looks like Jeff Bezos from an alternate dimension, about voter fraud and what she apparently saw.
But why is it that we're not having more people come forward? I mean, it seems like if there was all this widespread fraud, that, you know, we'd have dozens and dozens of people.
I'll tell you why. My life has been destroyed. My life has been completely destroyed because of this. I've lost family. I've lost friends. I've been threatened. My kids have been threatened. I've had to move. I've had to change my phone number. I've had to get rid of social media. Nobody wants to come forward. They're getting threatened. Their lives are getting ruined. I can't even get an actual job anymore.
When we examine the poll book and see who voted, and we count those numbers,
yes,
would they then not line up with the total number of votes coming out of Detroit?
Just later. The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book, why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So my question then is, if the
guess how many? Wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question.
So why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes? That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes.
Bro, this chick is smashed. I've never seen someone so drunk in real life. I mean, I in a while, in a hot minute, okay? Because COVID, I've just been drinking alone, and usually when I start drinking, I don't like to look at mirrors. I have a bad experience with it. Don't ask. Don't ask. I have never. This is just ridiculous. What you do is fucking crazy with yourself. she's out of her mind. What happened? I don't know if she's scared of talking in front of people or something. Her nerves got to her or what has happened, but she drunk something before walking into that room, and it was something strong. I don't know if she went to the local like gas station down the way and picked up a couple of those like little mini bottles and just devoured them, just swallowed them whole like Kirby. I am not sure, but she has done something wild, and it's so bad that this dude is trying to keep his composure. Lex Luthor is trying to keep his composure talking to her as much as possible, but it's not working. People are even starting to laugh at her. It's that bad. She has no clue what's going on. Giuliani has to like try and step in and stop her. Like he even sees it going off the rails. He has no clue what's going on. Apparently they had other people as well. I have no clue why they even decided to bring this woman up. Did they not like smell her? Did she not smell like a wine cellar walking in here or something? I am not sure, you know, because none of them are wearing masks. I know they can all smell pretty well just looking at them, but this is ridiculous. And it's just another mockery of just America in general. This does not bode well for our international relationships at any point. People are watching and they're laughing, and it's not really a good thing for any of us whatsoever. And as a lefty myself, just like we all know that the government is not good and is not very legitimate in its sense of taking care of the people, but this in a comical, like satirical sense, like this is just a Always Sunny in Philadelphia type skit that we're watching right now. Always Sunny in Detroit, basically. And she mentioned how it's really hard for her to get a job right now. I mean, yeah, that's definitely because of Antifa or Nancy Pelosi threatening her life or something, and definitely not the fact that she just got off of probation for computer crimes of some sort. I have no clue what happened, if she was trying to act as a Nigerian prince and get a bunch of people's Walmart gift cards or something, but she did something, and she just got off of parole. And I mean, they wrote it down here. She was sentenced last September to 12 months of probation for an as yet unreported incident in 2018, which court documents refer to as disorderly circumstances warranting alarm. That sounds like a book written by Lemony Snicket. I have no clue what this even means. This is so incredibly vague, but she did it, and using to commit a crime. So yeah, that definitely has nothing to do with the fact that you can't get a job, lady. And it's definitely all the Democrats or something, because they're bad. I have no clue why she decided to go up here like this and make her and everybody else look as big of a fool, even worse of fools as they are. But this is not good. And even just speaking from a just on the ground perspective, delegitimizing our institutions in this way is not helpful for anyone whatsoever, whether that be like you're a lefty or a centrist or whatever. It's not good. It only leads to more hardship for people at the fringes of society, when people do not trust the government. Now, thankfully, a lot of this mistrust is pointed towards they put a lot of mistrust internally. Their conspiracy is even starting to eat some of their own. We'll talk about that when it comes to Georgia, and them advocating a lot of their people not to vote in the Georgia runoff, which is okay in my book. But this can have a lot of effects on a lot of people who need support from government institutions to make it, and that's a lot of people, since 26 million people have slipped into poverty since the lockdowns and since COVID hit. Lots of layoffs have been happening. Employers have been using the opportunity to exploit a lot of their workers. Wage theft has been spiking. This is a big problem, and this is not a good time for our government to be acting like they're in a post-irony world, which they've ushered us into. This is not good, but at least we can laugh at it in this sense.